Will Square Enix ever release these games?
Let's talk about it.
Hello and welcome to episode 46 of Triangle Squared. I'm your host, Brett Beck, and alongside me, Mr.
Saul Bridges bringing you lucky episode 46. Can't forget that. I'm about to be punished.
Okay, so the first thing we got to get out of the way is the community punishment. And I got to go find it to give I think I remember them. I'm going to wing it.
No, it was.
So
I was very surprised
on Twitter,
at how that won.
Oh, I know it won, but on Twitter, we, because someone had called, well, actually because Saul brought attention to it himself, he did not make...
Could have stayed quiet.
He did not make the episode a lucky episode. So I decided that the punishment will be doled out by the community. So I gave 4 options because Twitter has awful... their poll thing is ridiculous. You can only have 4 options and they all have to be a certain number of characters. Because, you know, that's just how Twitter lives and breathes. So I had to be real careful about what I put on there. So I was like, we're just going to call Saul something. My first one was Cotton-Headed Nitty Muffin. Or Muggin. And what we did, that one I've just heard a million times. Then I did a Muzak Warbling Wimp, which is actually from the cult classic The Little Rascals that came out in the 90s. Great movie.
It is.
That's what Spanky calls alfalfa. Pretty good.
During their little argument.
Yep. And then the last one that was going to be an actual punishment was to call Saul by his name, by his friends group name that we've given him with a high-pitched O. And the last option was just to forgive him. And while forgiving was doing pretty well.
It was.
At first, Cotton-Headed Ninny Muggin came back into place. Nobody wanted to call him a Muzak Warbling Wimp besides, I assume, one person.
Yeah.
So, here we are. Saul, are you prepared?
I am prepared.
For your punishment. For this great grievance you've made to our listener base.
Yep.
Dylan?
This is where people who watch on YouTube really get the good stuff.
Dylan, give it to him.
Oh.
There we go.
All right, that is
had
Dylan.
My clone come
that
back
is
in.
Mr. Dylan, 1/3 of our boys over in Shenanigans and such. Rep their stuff. We got a sticker here.
Be sure to check them out.
Yeah, check them out. If you're in Texarkana, they will be at HypeCon in March. See you, Dylan. Thank you for stopping by. Now we can get this show on the road the proper way.
We can.
Saul, what you been doing this week? You been on vacation? You and Blaze both just vacationing it up, living life in large ways that I don't even know. He got attacked by a grandpa.
He did.
Anyway, been living life large like I only wish I could in this particular moment in my life. So what you been doing, Saul?
A lot of Monster Hunter.
A lot of
45 hours in. That's not counting the 13 hours I had on my original character that I deleted. So it's been super fun. I'm pretty sure I beat... You know what? I'm not going to say anything just in case there's spoilers. I don't want to get in that spoiler territory.
If you think you have, I can guarantee you haven't.
Okay, well, there you go then. I thought I had, but I hadn't. Well, it's up here. Like, is the camera supposed to be blinking like that? What's up with that? Normally it's a solid red light, I thought. When
No, it's recording.
Okay, just making sure. But so been playing a lot of Monster Hunter. Been playing Dark Souls 3 on Steam.
With a keyboard.
No, I've been playing DS4 Windows.
That's right. You started with keyboard and mouse and
did.
And sucked, right?
Actually,
you started DS1 with that.
I got all the way through Vort of the Boreal Valley with only keyboard and mouse. And
that's not bad. That's like the second
real boss.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Beat the Crystal Lizard in the very beginning, too. So that's interesting. But DS4 Windows makes PC a lot easier in gaming for games like that. I downloaded PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds yesterday, and I got to play a good amount of that. My Steam account says 3 hours in. So
where do you stand on the PUBG and Fortnite?
Fortnite's or PUBG's better.
Really?
Yeah,
you like
mainly because I like the amount of just strategy that is in both of the games. But I think that PUBG it wins because there's weapon attachments. And there is an actual layer of strategy. You can bend around corners like you can in Rainbow. You can do all kinds of cool things. You can go prone. And Fortnite got to the point of where you would play and you'd get down to the last 4 people, and it always would take place around a base. Like somehow or another, somebody would just build up a gigantic base in the last circle or one of the last circles. And it was really annoying. Like if you didn't have a rocket launcher at that point, it's really hard to penetrate their forces. Not saying it's a bad game. I'll still play it with people.
Yeah. But sure. I finally downloaded it just to give it a try the other day.
Yeah, I mean, it is super good.
I haven't played it yet.
The crafting, I really wish they'd make a mode without crafting. That'd be great. But I understand that Fortnite is all about crafting.
Well, and I think that why do it without? Because then you literally are just PUBG, but worse. Whereas if you do the building thing, it's like, well, okay,
there's an
here's
element.
the Battle Royale style, but we're doing it with a twist that we think makes sense with the game that we're putting it in, which is why I thought it made sense they put it in there anyway. I was like, well, at least it makes sense to build in this type of gameplay.
Yeah.
but I mean, they both have their elements of unrealisticness. But yeah, I mean, obviously Fortnite's made to be a little more whimsical and fast paced, and like the first couple times I saw the building taking place in Fortnite, where like you hit build or whatever, and say it's like a walkway, you'll start seeing like the boards fly.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's cool. It's also extremely weird. Like, while you're doing, because like you see people walking up steps that technically don't exist yet.
Yeah, that's and if you walk to, that could be a weird lag, because if you
go too far and it's not built yet.
Yeah, if you go too far, it's not built yet, and that's probably some weird lag compensation that happens in the game.
Probably,
but,
because it's like right on the edge, it's like on the periphery of it not being built, but they're still technically not on something. And I've seen that when we were at PSX. They had a big group up and they were playing with boards, and I saw that a couple times, but nothing crazy. Another
thing is that Fortnite's free.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Whereas, how
much is PUBG?
$30.
And if I'm not mistaken, Fortnite as a whole is going to be free to play soon.
Yes, I think it's sometime within the next couple months.
Yeah.
It only costs money if you want to get like the Founders Edition, kind of what Paragon did. But I mean, I went into playing PUBG thinking, it's going to be a mess, because I've always heard that it's hard to optimize the game. I actually have no issues at all. So I'm really glad to hear that at least the release 1.0 edition that came out finally out of early access runs really well on my PC.
For PUBG?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where it stands right now on Xbox, but it wasn't doing too well on Xbox.
Terrible on Xbox, because I actually watched a Digital Foundry video just to kind of see, and they were getting 12 and 20 frames per second in some parts.
Well, that was early days. I don't know how it's been updated or if it's been updated.
That's specifically whenever the Digital Foundry video came out. But other than that, I got through the third Colossus and Shadow Colossus, and that's pretty much it. What about
weird.
You?
We both randomly ended up starting that last night. So I played Shadow last night. I was playing Monster Hunter, played a bunch of Monster Hunter World this week, have not been able to keep myself from playing it. And whenever I was in the room kind of letting myself get ready to go to sleep, I finally decided to start up Soul Sacrifice Delta. So I've just been playing Monster Hunter style games
pretty much all
week. But last night I finally got into, it's the first time I failed a mission in Monster Hunter, and it was late. This is in game when the game moves towards high rank stuff. I'm not going to get into that yet, but Saul, have you been there? I mean, you were saying that you think you've done something, but have you gotten to where there's armor rankings and then low rank and high rank missions?
No. Okay,
then you are still a decent bit from me.
I did a big mission. I'll say it that much. A very big mission that's very familiar. Throughout the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right there.
That had a trophy.
You're right there.
Yeah.
You're going to see as soon as you keep playing. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm getting into what they call kind of the late game grind for that, where there's actually high ranking missions that are a lot harder. And I finally failed one after. I've done a bunch of the high ranking missions so far, but they weren't story missions. This one was a story mission. So the story does keep going past what you would think as you get to that point. It's like a soft ending almost. It feels like. So that without saying too much, but it does keep going. So the game is very meaty, kind of surprisingly so, but also not. I guess it's just the way they handled stories in the last game. There really wasn't even a story. You're just doing missions, with weird reasons as why you're doing it sometimes, if I remember right. But that's pretty much all I played, and started Shadow yesterday and got through the second Colossus because I failed the mission after like 45 minutes of it. And I was like, well, I don't really feel like doing that again. So, and it was late and I was tired. I was like, I'm gonna hop on Shadow real quick. It is beautiful. Very beautiful. It was killing me because in the menu when you're setting up the game for PS4 Pro, it says, do you want to do cinematic mode or performance mode, where it either favors resolution or favors frame rate.
Yeah.
When I clicked, it starts in cinematic mode. When I clicked over to performance mode, I noticed the resolution decrease on the text, like stark. I was like, whoa! And then I flipped back over. I was like, I can't believe that I can see the difference.
I wonder if that's a weird 4K thing.
I mean, I don't really know because you don't have a 4K TV for yours.
No,
so.
but that's what I'm getting to, is that doesn't happen on mine.
Well,
I'm in frame rate mode.
Because you're not telling the game. Because the game is not doing anything really besides, I guess, super sampling to your 1080p TV. It must be that it's actually showing what. And I wouldn't be surprised if the text in the game is legit 4K, because not. I mean, you're rendering text in 4K. It's not really that demanding. And it was in a menu that didn't have any other pictures.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that being said, that might be why I was like that. But I thought it was weird that I could notice it there already. But yeah, I started that up really pretty. The HDR is really pretty in that game. And I went with cinematic mode first. And when I roll back around for my, just because I want to see the game at as pretty as it can get from a visual standpoint, And then I'm going to roll back through and do performance mode for the time attack modes that come later in the game after you beat it, and see how it performs at 60 frames per second versus the 30 frames per second.
Yeah, 60 frames. I will say this. I'm not a huge fan of motion blur at all. Thankfully, this game actually has an option where you can turn it all the way off.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I do on almost any game that offers me the chance.
Motion blur, to me, is important in scenes, not necessarily in moment-to-moment gameplay. Necessarily, I think it can help if it does it kind of on the outskirts and kind of uses it to motion blur items when you're spinning around real quick. Because that is what would happen with your eyes if you move. You have a little bit of a blur, but you can also control. It's not that you can just turn it on or off. You can control how much of it is there and how much of it's not there.
Yeah.
So you can actually slide it to your preferred level. But there's, I was looking into the Heavy Rain, like we were talking on the Discord chat about Heavy Rain, the PS4 port, which I never got around to playing. And I was looking at Digital Foundry's thing on it. I'm pretty sure it was Digital Foundry. And they were talking about the fact that they removed motion blur from certain cutscenes, and it actually looked a lot worse. And because it was stuff that was used to like blur the background while the focal points were going to stay, in the scene. So like his kid spinning around in a merry-go-round, and you can see the items behind him on the PS3 were blurred,
right?
And then on the PS4 it wasn't, and it just looked fake and weird. It didn't look as, I don't know, it was weird, but still, that was pretty cool. I liked that. And oh Lord, one thing I need to do real quick is plug in this laptop. So I'll take over with the drop real quick, because that's pretty much all I did this week, and I'll be right back.
Sure thing. So, gonna hop into the drop. We have Crossing Souls for PS4, CubeWorks for PSVR. We have Drunken Bar Fight for PSVR. Dynasty Warriors 9 for PS4, also available in retail stores. We have The Fall Part 2 Unbound for PS4. Faye for PS4. Guilt Battle Arena for PS4. Kingdom Come Deliverance for PS4, both digitally and retail. Knockout League for PSVR. The Longest 5 Minutes for PS Vita. Really cool art on that one. We have Mahjong Carnival for PS4. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game for PS4, both available at your retail store or digitally.
That art looks awful.
Oh, no, it does. The game looks awful. Pinstripe for PS4. Pop-Up Pilgrims for PSVR. Schnotch for PS4. Secret of Mana for PS4, both digitally and retail. Slice Dice and Rice for PS4. Sprint Vector for PSVR. True Fear for Forsaken Souls Part 1 for PS4, and that's it. A lot of cool VR games coming out. 1 or 2 video gems hidden in there, but I'm super excited for Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana is Vita too, right?
No.
Really? For some reason, I really thought that they talked about a Vita version for that game.
I don't think so.
I wonder if it's delayed, though. If at all,
I don't know if I've ever heard of that. I would be really surprised. But Secret of Mana is super good. I recommend that to anyone who's interested in any kind of RPGs. A lot of cool, really cool works they have going on there. I actually played it on an emulator a while back ago, like 5 years ago for the first time. And got stuck at one part until I downloaded the right emulator. Because the emulator I had, you couldn't press the touchscreen in 2 different parts. And one of the swords in the very beginning, you have to press A, B to get it out. So can't really do that on a touchscreen phone.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, it's just extremely uncomfortable to do because of the way the buttons get handled.
Oh, not only that, but I guess my phone didn't have dual touching on emulators or whatever, or the emulator I don't forgot what it was, but then
didn't support a multi-touch screen or whatever.
Yeah, because then I got the My Boy Game Boy Advance emulator, and no, it wasn't that. It was a SNES emulator, but yeah, it made it work, and it was pretty good after that.
And it says it's supposed to be coming to Vita as well on the 15th.
Guess
so
the drop didn't list that in there. I wonder why.
It may have gotten delayed, but that was the original announcement. I thought so. Because I thought, like, it's cool to see them still supporting the Vita with a game that makes sense to support the Vita. But, stuff happens. Maybe it got moved, or maybe for some reason they just mistaked. They just, didn't put it on there right. But that's okay. That's not a bad drop. I mean, I want to play Secret of Mana because I'd played the original very loosely, and I played some of the Mana games, like, Sword of Mana and stuff later. But I haven't just been, I've never dived too terribly far into that, so who knows? And I'm really curious because I was like, I'm going to play that on Vita. Give me a good reason to play the Vita, no reason not to. So, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
$30. Yeah, that makes sense.
$30.
Does it show the same release date?
Well, I'm on the GameStop site, and just to kind of get a frame of reference, they have a visual for the Steam card for Secret of Mana. They have the PS4 download and physical, but they have a blurred out image or no image available, and it doesn't say what it's for. So, curious. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in 3 days, 5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah, we'll see. That's super weird. I don't really know why it's like that, but it doesn't matter, I guess. So, all right, so well, I'm gonna move into the news real quick so we can get rolling.
Okay.
Let's see. On the news front, the biggest news of all, Saul, that we woke up to.
Yep.
Oh my word! I was so excited when I woke up. I woke up a little late today too. I checked my phone. I was like, "What is this?" Kingdom Hearts 3 received a lot of news from the recent D23 Expo. A new trailer showcasing the Monsters Inc. world that was originally leaked a while back, and they looked legit.
A lot of people,
I thought it was gonna be real.
I was curious.
So glad. We also got to see Rapunzel for the first time actually in the game, and apparently the reason it took so long for them to actually want to show Rapunzel is that early development, they still weren't necessarily happy with the way the hair was, because her hair is really long.
Yeah.
And it was clipping through stuff the way that they had it working at the time.
Okay.
But they were ready to show it now because it's apparently
It was a lot
what
better.
they wanted it to be.
Makes
So,
sense.
that's cool. They also showed a new, alongside the new trailer, they also showed Utada Hikaru's return to the franchise with the all-new theme song for the game. Interesting to note, it was a pretty theme song too.
It
What
was.
I would expect from Utada. I can't wait to actually see what opening video it's going to be alongside.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that was it. That just looked like random trailer snippets, and that wouldn't make
Right.
sense anyway. They normally go super metaphorical.
I don't think
and weird.
the last shot of Riku though was in any trailer, was it?
No,
That's
was
what
different.
got me. Yeah,
And
I was like, where
what?
did that come from? Because
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't seen that yet. And then I looked in the comments and people were pointing it out too. I'm like, okay, I thought I was going crazy that was a trailer I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's new, and I was like, man, Riku's new outfit looks tight.
It does.
Looks really cool, and I like. See, the game's going a lot of weird places. I know that they know like some of the things they're showing. It's like, wait, what? Like Vanitas being back in the new trailer?
Hey, that's what I was going to say. To people we have a Discord with people playing, don't watch the new trailer. Because it will mess you up.
Oh yeah,
Kind of. It will spoil something for you.
I won't necessarily say it will spoil something, but
I will.
it will definitely actively confuse you.
It certainly will. That's true.
I don't know. It's weird.
There's a line that he says to Sora. I was like, man, calling Sora weak in a very hard sense. Like it was good. It looks really
throwing
good.
real shade, yeah. So anyway, but I thought it was interesting to note that the trailer does still show a 2018 release, though again, no further date or details were given. I have been saying for a while now, I firmly believe, definitely now that they've shown this much and they're still wanting to be, ballsy enough to put a 2018, even the fact that it says 2018 on there, I still think that we will get a 2018 release date.
I think so too.
But whether or not it releases on the day is still up in the air, because they went into a further thing on it. In one of the PlayStation Access, I think it was Holly, if I'm remembering her name correctly, she went and she was talking about that Tetsuya was basically talking about the game in pieces of what completion they are, and he said like he's like, let's just say we're breaking the game up into thirds.
Right.
The first part of the game is about 90% done. The second third of the game is between 50 and 60% done, and he didn't want to give a number on the last one, but he did mention that on the last part, he's working on something he's always wanted to work on since before Kingdom Hearts was even a reality. So as early as back whenever he was doing the character designs on Final Fantasy VII. So pretty interesting. He's been with the company a long time. So I'm curious as what he means, because there's a lot of cool. I'm assuming it's going to be. Is it going to be a crossover, or is it going to be something wholly original that he just didn't think was possible to the level that he thought in his head until now? I'm curious, but I'm excited. I think that's going to be really good to see.
Yeah,
I'm a little disappointed that we've still not seen any of the Big Hero 6 stuff, even though they went out of their way to make a special video about how Big Hero 6 is going to be.
And
in the
they
game.
showed Toy Story again.
Yeah, that's not bad. They showed different parts of Toy Story.
They did, which
So that's
is cool.
And they showed they showed a good, I don't say excessive. They showed a great, healthy amount of the Monsters Inc. world. So that's good to see. Next thing up on the list, though, for people who don't care about Kingdom Hearts like we do, we could gush forever. Monster Hunter World continues to sell well, passing over 6 million copies sold since launch. The game awards players with a special item bundle, and this is going to be part of your daily login bonus. But it's free to celebrate the milestone, much like they did with the 5 million milestone. Speaking of sales, Monster Hunter World was also the most downloaded title from the PlayStation Store throughout January, despite only being available for 5 days. That's impressive.
It is.
The game has done so well by word of mouth, though, because it hit 5 million really quickly, and even the fact that it kind of managed to bring itself back over at like it did, I'm impressed. I think that was a pretty good. That's good. It goes to show that word of mouth is working really well for this game more than anything. And it's also funny because Xbox One players and some, to a much smaller extent, but some PS4 players are experiencing problems with the servers. So it goes to show that even though the game isn't necessarily at 100%, people are still reacting well to the game.
Yeah.
But speaking of Monster Hunter, Capcom have revealed a chart showing the dates for the upcoming events that includes some of the crossover events that they've announced, but not all of them. I still don't see anything for the Mega Man crossover that they've announced at PSX. But what they have shown so far, the second Horizon Zero Dawn crossover where you'll be able to get Aloy's armor and her bow, is going to be an event called The Proving, which is cool just as a throwback to actual Horizon story. And it will be available from 2/28 to 3/15, so that's February 22nd later this month to March 15th. And in the mission, you will have to hunt an Anjanath, but it will be a souped-up Anjanath with a Hunter rank 11 requirement. So you need to be up there a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, Anjanaths are pretty easy for our levels right now.
Yeah, you think? You just wait.
I was going to say, I've gone from insect glaive to bow. Now I'm working on longsword stuff.
Okay,
and
cool.
It's super fun to kind of change around weapons and stuff in that game.
Yeah, see, and I may give the bow another roll once we get the Aloy bow, because I like the bow, but I also kind of like the crossbow.
Are you going to be playing tonight when y'all get back from the movies?
Most likely, yes.
Okay, cool. I'll show you a couple things with the bow that it shows you in the demo or in the training grounds.
I didn't go to the training grounds with the bow. That's important.
Okay.
I literally did all of it in the middle of a
Neither
hunt,
did Ryan.
and it was bad.
Neither did Ryan. So there's a thing called Dragon Piercer where you hit circle and square, and you do this cool pivot move where you land on your knee, and you charge up a big arrow and you shoot it, and then it shoots out, and it can do multiple damage across multiple parts. And Ryan had no idea that was a move.
Well, he's been doing well regardless.
Yeah, I think we all have.
The other crossover is the Street Fighter crossover, and that is exclusive to PS4 as well. Will be available later this month from 2/16, so February 16th to March 1st, and then it will be gone. I don't know what exactly you get from that. They haven't gone just too far into that. Maybe it's just a crossover for crossover's sake.
No, you get a full-out Ryu costume.
Do you?
Yeah,
I'm not surprising. They did not have it listed on the thing, but it's not surprising. To be fair, I also don't care. You know what I mean? That's one thing.
Yeah, I hate. I say I hate. That's a really strong term. I don't like Street Fighter at all, and this looks really, really goofy in a sense. But yeah, it's literally Ryu from Street Fighter. Which
I
know
he was going to be in there, but I didn't know if you played as him or if it's just you wearing his armor.
I think it's you wearing. I think it's similar to Aloy, where you put on his stuff and you become him.
Okay, well.
Which I kind of wish was different for Aloy, because even guys become Aloy. They transform into Aloy. They'll make you look like Aloy when you put all her stuff on. So super weird.
That is a little weird, but I mean, oh well, I guess. Maybe they didn't want to do anything, and they could have done a man piece, make him turn into a. Whatever.
I think just having the armor would have been cool. I don't really want to play as Aloy.
I agree. Letting you actually look the way you look, but be able to put armor that's inspired by Horizon on. At least, that'd be cool.
Because I'm definitely going to use the bow.
The Shield Weaver armor would have been dope.
Yeah, it would have.
Woo!
Overpowered too.
No, yeah, not functionality. Just look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the functionality would be ridiculous. Definitely in that kind of game.
Right.
Next thing up, though, during an investor call for Activision Blizzard, it was revealed that Destiny 2 will be receiving a major expansion later this year. What the hell that means?
We all knew that was coming. It's going to be the Taken King style expansion.
Too little, too late. And I was even when I was looking at the boards, there were a lot of people that really liked Destiny 1 who were still saying that while Taken King was okay, it was not this huge update like they kept promising it was going to be. They're realistically, they were said it was going to have a ton of new weapons and a ton of new armor and a ton of new content. And the story was 2 hours, shorter than extremely short. The new armor, they said a lot of the armor that was added was reskins.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guns were reskins. So it's was it really that big of an update?
Well, that's the thing. And
the thing it added most is some of the things you like, which is changing a little bit of I think at that point was a little bit of the light, the way that light was given and doled out to you,
and stuff like Sparrow Racing,
and then stuff also the what is it, strike scoring and stuff
Yeah.
at that point. And that's what they were talking about. They're like, Bungie spent all this time, like we've talked about forever, building up a game and getting it to a point where everybody loved what it was, just to implode it and restart from the ground up with an extremely vanilla game with 2.
And the sad thing is, for me to go back to that game, they're literally going to have to revert it back to what the ending of Destiny 1 was like.
Oh, you're talking about like from a feature standpoint, like you
Yeah.
want everything that you felt like was in
I'm
there?
not going back until that's. And I was actually contemplating. I was looking at my special edition yesterday. I was contemplating trading that in a GameStop and getting some Steam cards or something because I don't know if I'm
Like
ever
you're
going
not
to
going to touch it for a while.
I don't know if I ever will.
Ever, yeah.
Yeah, like they really need to come out with a lot of new stuff. And then the most important part about Destiny is I need people to go back with. I know Joe ain't going back. If you're not going back, RJ Loki might go back and I could definitely play with him. But other than like that, I don't really think there's much else to do. So
Yeah, I could see that. So I mean, either way,
makes me sad.
What if it really is huge though? That's the only. It's the what if, because I
It
do
has
feel
to
like
be huge. Yeah.
Well, I feel like Bungie's exhausted all of their, goodwill at this point across all this time, because people weren't that happy with Destiny 1 a lot of times, saying, well, this isn't as big as you thought, as you keep claiming it was going to be. So what happens when they call this a huge expansion and it ends up being smaller than Taken King?
I mean, yeah, that's what it is. It has to be massive. It has to be bigger than Taken King. It has to be bigger than anything Destiny has seen before.
Take Rise of Iron and Taken King and just smush them together. That's at least sizable.
Just this past weekend, they were at the all-time low of people
Player
playing
count?
Trials. No, just specifically
Oh,
Trials,
yeah,
but it was
'cause Trials was this
70,000
weekend.
people. Yeah, it was pitiful.
Yeah, I saw that. That's sad. All right, next thing up is for those of you who like new IP. I know I do, though I do also like sequels. But if you like IP over iterating sequels, Bandai Namco seem to be working towards your favor. They announced a new midterm plan that involves reorganization to strengthen their existing IP as well as create new strong IP with a heavy interest in investing in new IP specifically. So that's cool to see. Bandai has always been a publisher that has played it safe.
And they're good. They're good at it too.
Yeah, and more so than anything, they just do small, incremental. They don't change a whole lot. They keep what people love about a series while adding just enough so they can say it's a little bit worthy of a change, new story.
Yeah.
But the core mechanics you've always loved are still here.
They're still there. Yeah.
Now
that's what makes them so good.
to be an extent, that's drawn my ire before, because I do not like the way they've handled the Dynasty Warriors series. I mean, it's a series that I feel like has been stagnant since the PS1.
I mean, it's almost like their version of Madden. It's pretty much this. It comes out yearly. It's almost the same with different characters.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
But the people who love it, and that's something.
Yeah. So next thing up, Focus Home Interactive have announced. I thought this was funny because we talked about how it was a disappointment for us, but they have announced a sequel to The Surge is expected to come in 2019. Though I don't know that I even want to hold. I don't know that it holds any water, because do you remember they are also the ones who said that there was going to be a sequel to The Lords of the Fallen?
Yeah, and it was The Surge.
We have not heard. No. They said that there was going to be a legitimate sequel to
I
Lords
know.
of the Fallen,
Yeah,
and
it never has.
There still hasn't been one.
It pretty much was what I think was The Surge. Like, I think that Surge started out with something different, and then
maybe because it was different developers. Deck 13, the people who made The Surge, helped with the development of Lords of the Fallen.
And I think all their stuff that they helped them with was all stuff from what would have been a Surge sequel, and then they gave up on it. Like, I think all the stuff they brought to the table in terms of
Well, I'm just saying, like, Deck 13 helped make the original Lords of the Fallen.
No, I know.
But from that point, I think that they just were like, we're going to let this team break off, because they said that Deck 13 would not be helping with the sequel.
Oh, I thought Deck 13 it was helping.
No, with the sequel, no, they weren't.
Okay.
So Deck
I didn't
13
read
broke
that
off
far
and like,
into
we're
that.
going to make our own Souls-like game. Here's what it is. But there was some articles a while back that were talking about Lords of the Fallen sequel being like in kind of development hell, where they don't really know what they're going to be doing with it, and that it hasn't been doing too well. So I don't expect to see that. But hey, maybe the Surge will do better, because the Surge seemed to come pretty quickly. And if it doesn't have anything to do with the, I can't remember the name of the other developer right now, but oh well.
They had a pirate ship as logo, didn't they? Or is that Deck 13?
That's Deck 13.
Okay.
The other one I cannot remember for the life of me, but oh well. Next thing up on the list, Far Cry 3 was announced to be part of the season pass for Far Cry 5, and while many believed it to be a remaster, I did as well. Recent reports state that it will be a re-release instead. This means it's likely just a port, though from which system has not been detailed, and this is technically... This was from a Ubisoft point of contact or whatever, like an agent. I still don't know if it's true, but it seems like it would be likely. But I would think it's safe to assume that this would be a PC port, because They wouldn't be porting from the PS3. They just wouldn't. It'd be weird to port. It'd be too hard, and it might as well be a remaster at that point. I doubt that they would port from the 360 because the consoles are so similar, at least in within reason, to the x86 architecture. The new consoles, it's likely the PC version, which means it's going to be better than the PS3 360 versions of the game anyway. Right. So it's going to be a remaster for those of us who've never played it on PC, like I have not. In the sense that you will have already improved textures and probably, it's
going to look better. It's probably going to be more stable.
Yeah, because I remember one of the things about PC is that it had a much less defined, even though I did like the stylistic look that it gave the game, the black outlines on everything. It was still there in PC.
Didn't you have that on Steam and you showed me that?
No, I did not. I've never had I've had Far Cry 4 on Steam. But I did not have Far Cry 3.
PC, or maybe I watched a video of them pointing that out.
Probably, yeah. It was a much less defined, even though I did kind of like the semi shell shaded look that it gave it.
Yeah, that's what I remember the person saying is that those black, cell shaded. But yeah, it looks really interesting for sure. Different.
Sure. Next thing up, Sony have revealed a redesign for its popular gold wireless headset. The redesign aims to enhance performance and comfort, definitely when in use on PSVR. They look to be removing the folding hinges also, which was a structural complaint on the original gold headset, and they will be keeping the same price of $99.99. I like that because when I play my VR, I don't want to put my headset on because I feel like I'm kind of stretching them too far. Yeah. So I use my other studio headsets that I have just for when I record. But I like that these kind of are doing away with that folding hinge because while I've had my headset for over a year now,
I've had mine,
and mine doesn't have a single crack or anything on it.
Yeah, mine has.
I've had mine probably 2 years now, but I don't have any issues with mine. But regardless of that, it's good to see that they're going to move away from something that was a point of complaint for a lot. Other than that, they really are almost unchanged outside of just the way they look and are going to feel in your head. The drivers inside seem to be the same. It will have the same virtual surround sound support. It will have the same app support where you go in and there's pre-made profiles for songs. Pre-made profiles for games.
Like an Uncharted mode and then like
for certain
War
games.
mode.
Not every game gets it, but and there's also like a shooter mode where it's generally aimed to be better for most shooters.
Well, what's interesting is I'm wondering because I basically at this point the only thing different is the shell, and what I'm curious about is that with them keeping the same drivers, I wonder if the mic placement's going to be any better because I have heard complaints from people like Jonathan and Dylan
that they can't hear you.
They say it sounds like I'm far away from a mic, and I'd never have heard that until I played with them, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty bad because they were talking about how Jacob had a PS4 golds. I'm like, I have that. Nobody's complaining. They're like, we just haven't said anything about it yet. It's bad. I'm like, oh. You're far away. It sounds like you're 10 feet away from your microphone right now. So I was like, should I turn it up? And so I tried turning it up, and they said it only made you louder, but it still sounds like you're far away. It only turned me being far away up. It didn't even get me closer to the mic, so to say.
Well, I don't know. I've only heard that from them. We should ask Ryan and them because Ryan I feel like would say something.
Yeah,
and I know I would say something.
Right, and see, like they all use, I'm pretty sure, Turtle Beaches. So I'm wondering if it's a compatibility exchange in between the Turtle Beaches and the golds. I wonder if it's just the quality of the Turtle Beaches. I don't think that's technically
possible, but I don't know. It may be the how much of the I don't know. That just.
I don't know if it's the quality of the Turtle Beaches or what, but yeah, tonight when we play, we definitely need to ask Ryan or John or Josh.
Yeah, I mean, just to see. I've not heard that many complaints, but I'll say this: I don't play online just a massive amount, so it doesn't matter to me that much. I like the headphones for when I'm playing games like Hellblade and stuff like that because they functionally have better. Like even in Monster Hunter, when cutscenes would come and y'all were kind of talking, and I was like, I don't want to have to yell at them to shut up because we're in a party chat, and it's not. I mean, if I wanted to hear, I should have gotten a party chat, or if I was going to be a dick about it, Right. But what I'll do instead is I'll just use the rocker on the front that lets you adjust your your party chat and audio chat levels, and I'll just boop, 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 real quick.
Is it chat that's on the bottom, or is it game that's on the bottom?
It's towards chat on the bottom, towards game on the top. Okay. So if you click the upper one, you're going more towards fading the game's audio to be prevalent, and then if you go the other way, you'll hear more of the chat.
And then the back one's just a volume.
And the back one's general volume. Yeah. So I use that all the time. I love I love the headphones for the features that they support.
Yeah,
they sound good. And when you use games that if you actually have the game and you tell it that you're using headphones, it sounds even better. there are better sounding headphones. I know that without a shadow of a doubt.
Right.
But with the way those work, the way they look, and the way they feel, they are comfortable. They are one of the only headphones I've had that you remember those ones I had that were the Afterglows?
Yeah.
They sounded better. Not a massive amount, but they did sound better.
I am
but they were
I'm
extremely
so shocked by
uncomfortable.
that because I used to have a pair for those for $360.
Well, those were $100 too.
Yeah,
remember?
mine were too. Mine were accidentally clearance out by Walmart.
And they had they had the headset that you could pull out and angle.
That's
and
how
then slide back in,
that's how mine was.
I mean, but it hurt my head like bad.
See, I think
I have a big head.
I think the most comfortable pair of headphones I've ever had were those Logitech G 933s or whatever they're called. They're really cool ones that glow. We got in Hot Springs that one time.
Do you know what happened to them?
No, I still have them. I just
They didn't work with your PS4 exactly like you wanted, or what?
No, they did. I just need to get a new. What it really is I need to get a new braided cable because I played with the USB cable and not the headset cable. Because every now and then it would either cause. I don't remember if it was you that pointed out or it might have been Joe. But if I touched the USB cable, it would be massive feedback in my head on the other end.
Feedback or like a ground, like because that's not feedback. That's a ground problem.
It wasn't even a ground problem. They said it sounded like massive tearing, which could be a ground problem. But it sounded like okay. It sounded like my voice went up really high, real quick in volume, and then all of a sudden it cut to a tear, and it sounded like my voice was skipping.
I don't know. That might have just been.
If I plugged it in with the 3.5, yeah, it'd be fine. No, 3.5.
Oh, okay. The USB was the problem. I got you.
Yeah. So I just really need to get a new braided.
That wasn't ground problem. I don't know what that was.
I just need to get like a new 10-foot braided cable. Right now they're hooked up to my PC and I use them while playing PUBG. But
who knows?
Yeah, totally recommend the golds, whether you get the new ones or the old ones.
Yeah, because even the hinged cables, I never fold mine ever. But I have a friend Devin, I was asking him. He said he had them. He's had his. He has the exact same pair as I have. They came out when Uncharted 4 came out. He's like, I've had these since then, and I fold them up all the time. He's like, my hinges haven't broke yet.
Yeah, and see, I don't fold mine up either. I have had mine folded up once or twice before, just kind of on accident, like where I'll pick them up and they'll fold one in. I'm like, might as well fold them up and put them over here now. And I've done that a couple of times, but most of the time I just take them off and I lay them on top of my tower of games.
Yeah.
My games tower. But
yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was that big of an issue, but the redesign does look nice. To be fair,
it does look really, really good.
It looks closer in design to the platinums.
Well, there was another platinums that looked amazing. It wasn't the regular ones. It was a brand.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go on to the next one real quick while you're looking that up. Sony have confirmed the more new features are likely, maybe even all of the new features for System Update 5.50. Users will be able to implement playtime management across sub-accounts to help control the length of time that kids or whatever sub-accounts you have can play before losing access to the games and the console, which is interesting, at least from a parental guidance standpoint, like letting them do that on their own. Let's see. Another change is in the library where a new tab will be added that separates all games you've gotten from free from the PS Plus monthly games into a separate section from your purchase list, making it easier to know which games are tied to your subscription. The quick menu is seeing a couple of enhancements with the ability to see which friends are online by a pull-down menu. You can make a custom friends list, so I can specifically be like, I want to see if they're on pull-down menu, this list.
That's cool.
All these friends are on. And another thing you can do is when you're in that quick menu, you can hit triangle, and it'll instantly go, like right now on the beta, I haven't made a custom list, but I can hit triangle, and it'll automatically flip to only the people that are online.
Oh, that's super cool. That kind of reminds me of how 360 was.
That way it doesn't have to show me the people who are offline.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool. I like that.
Anyway, let's see. Another quick menu enhancement will be that there will be volume controls and stop and pause controls for music in the quick menu now. There will be a button that you hold, and then you can hit buttons to turn it up or down or play and pause, depending on if you're listening to it from USB or if you're listening to it from Spotify.
Huh.
That's one of the ones. I don't listen to music on my PC, on my console while I'm playing because of the fact that I don't use Spotify. That's the only one that's supported.
I really wish they supported Google Play because Spotify works so flawlessly on PS4.
I wish he supported Google Play too, but that's just because that's where my subscription lies.
Yep.
And see, the last things are that you will now be able to add custom wallpapers via USB. And lastly, PS Now will now support background music when streaming. Which is kind of interesting because, one of the things on PS3 was that you couldn't play games with music playing like the 360 could, which never bothered me necessarily. And some of the games where you'd really want it tended to include it in some way. Like Midnight Club Los Angeles
Yeah.
on the PlayStation 3 had it to where inside the game you could click in and you could play songs that were on your console from within the game. But the game made it to where it could use that feature. It wasn't a console-wide feature.
Yeah, like
But-
I think a Grand Theft Auto game had something like that on 360. I think Grand Theft Auto 4 maybe, or maybe even a Saints Row game. Where,
Maybe.
I think it was Saints Row actually, where you could actually have like a USB plugged in and it can play it off your USB into the game, which was really cool. For like when you hop in a car, it'll play your playlist and not the game.
That's kind of interesting. Like only specifically when your music would be playing or whatever.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool. Anyway, that's all for that one. The
and that's the goal. That's the headset I was talking about. It's the it's the Pulse Elite Edition wireless studio headset. They're 220.
those look good. Those look really good, actually.
Their battery's running low, but it's plugged in. Your little charge light's on too.
Somehow my charger got unplugged.
Is it? It looks like it's charging. Okay, whatever. I'll go ahead and hop into the weekly. Wow, I can't even think of what I'm trying to say here. Weekly Ask Us Anything, where once a week, and we're gonna start getting better about it.
Otherwise known as Reader Mail.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna start getting better about it. We're gonna try to publish it on Thursday nights, and then you'll have all the way until like Saturday afternoon to get them in, and then that way we'll have them all on there. And then if we're having it on Friday, we'll have them on Wednesday. So we'll have a good amount of time to get them in there. But we have a good amount.
I'm going to hit the ones real quick before we get into Twitter. Well, actually, one of the things we'll talk about from Twitter is that our boys in Shenanigans and Such asked when they would be able to come mess around on the podcast. 1/3 of Shenanigans and Such has now done that.
Yeah.
As of this episode. And otherwise, I do think that would make a really interesting bonus episode. So we'll figure out a day where we'll do that. They have some weirds. Like, I just think, if nothing else, we've talked about it. What they do is interesting to me because I don't actually care for wrestling, but I think it's actually a brilliant idea when it's executed well.
I'm not a fan of wrestling at all, but the way it's basically them commentating over the game playing against itself in wrestling.
Well, now they control the fights. They do the fights themselves.
That's
that
cool.
way, because the AI wasn't smart enough to do stuff. So they're evolving in ways that I think make sense. That's good, and they're going better about being able to do voiceovers or characters and stuff. And since the games let you make custom characters, you can make your own wrestling league with your own people. You can use official people or completely unofficial people. It's a weird name. It's a weird thing that they do as a grand scheme of things, but I do generally like it, and I think it's a cool idea, even though I don't actively watch it, mainly just because I don't know anything about wrestling, so it doesn't mean much to me. But I've watched here and there, and they have been doing good improvements, so that's cool. So we will have them on to show some of their stuff. They are also working on a board game which uses anime characters, which is weird. I don't really know. What you doing, Saul? Can't get back on your computer?
Oh, the caps lock. I was like, what?
Anyway, real quick, though, a couple of the ones that didn't come in on the specific tweet because of the fact that we sometimes post it so late. Had a couple of people message us in. So Mr. El Chabib, who we always end up getting at the end of the episode, so good to do it early this time around. He asked, hello, Brett and Saul. Question for this week. Do you guys have in mind a game series that has overall improved with each iteration, even if it's a small one? Some game series stop at a certain point and others succeed and then die off for after a certain number, which, I mean, there's plenty of games do that, even though they've stopped doing that near as much these days because they want franchises to last forever. And do you think that games series in general will die off as more and more games are heading the games as a service route? Thanks, to keep up the great podcasting. Thank you, El Chabib. Thank you for listening. Every week, let's see. A game series that has overall improved with each iteration.
The Elder Scrolls.
There's arguments to be made from some people.
Nope. I'm in agreement. Nostalgia problems.
I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
But there are arguments to be made from some people that Oblivion is objectively better.
Oh, well, see, here's the thing, though. It's like, I think that too, but I'm not going to say that Skyrim didn't improve things upon that Oblivion did.
Well, there's people but I guess what he's saying is like, see, Saul, you got to stop erasing crap. I hate when you do that. Now I can't get it back.
Bam, it's back. Control Z. But he just said he just said overall improved. And that's what it is. That Skyrim, you can easily argue that Skyrim's lore and all that stuff is not as good as Oblivion's, and I agree to that. But I would not say that the combat, the crafting, every other aspect of the game is better in Skyrim.
And there are people, and I agree. And actually, I'll even agree that I think the lore is sometimes told better in Skyrim.
I think
even
the
if
missions in Oblivion and stuff were way better, and they told the story way better than Skyrim did.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't played Oblivion in a while now. And actually, I played Skyrim much more recently, so maybe it's just that. But I think that's a good answer. I think one answer, too, that I would give is Sly Cooper. I think that every Sly Cooper game has gotten better in ways that matter. My favorite Sly Cooper game is 2 from a specific story standpoint, but every game has gotten much better mechanically speaking, the way the world works, the way how big it is, like scope, size, everything is always done for the better. So story being a little bit different, I'm still going to account that there's more better in every game than there is that I would consider even minutely worse. That's a good answer for me. I mean, I stand behind that. Though I do think, you said no matter how small they are, I think there are games that that are very small that tend to get better with each one.
Yeah.
But one example of a series that I think should have done really well, but kind of flips it to where it actually got worse as soon as it didn't even start. As soon as the first sequel happened, I was like, well, this wasn't as good, was the Rayman series that they started with the UB art style. So the first one was Rayman Origins. Rayman Origins is almost a flawless game. I love that game.
What was the
Legends?
Legends, yeah.
And the problem is Legends kept the idea moving forward with the art style and the general gameplay, but then they're like, we're going to make these rhythm style levels. And I'm like, they're trying to do too many things at once, and it detracts from what I love so much about Origins. So I would much rather myself go back and play Origins because it fits more into what I want from a platformer and what I feel like most people want from a platformer. If you're going to make one that has a lot of these rhythm segments, then why not just make it a rhythm platformer the whole way through?
Right.
It just felt weird and jarring when you had to do these levels and they're timed and everything has to happen in certain orders, which is not a problem, but that's normally what you do with endless runners. And they've made Rayman endless runners that were good because they were from start to finish this idea. We're going to endless run. This is what we're going to do. Rayman Jungle Run I talked about, I'm pretty sure when we were talking about phone gaming.
Yeah.
I love that game because from start to finish, it was trying to be one thing instead of trying to do multiple. Now, most people love Legends, so I know I'm in a minority in there, but I think Origins is the better game. And I think sometimes series do that. As soon as they start to get worse. And then some games, like Assassin's Creed, just ride a wild wave because of the development cycles they hit with different teams doing different things.
Yeah.
So they iterate in different ways. So, I don't know. It's one of those things. I think Uncharted there's an argument for because besides the story and characters in 4, even though they were good, everything else about that game was better to me. I had, the stealth editions were good and they really kind of needed to be there.
I would say playing 1, 2, then 3 that
you saw
there was a good gradual change as they kept on going.
Yeah, good question though.
Thank you, LGB.
All right, Mr. Liam Wilhelm, who finally got to write in, he was saying he always misses it, which I know a couple people do. So while we are working on that, he says, when a game presents a character creation mode, do you make yourselves, someone you know, or is it an original design? Saul, go ahead.
I make what I think I would like to be in that world. So basically, I play God to what I would like to look like in that game.
So basically an original design, but possibly sometimes inspired by you?
Yeah, it's an original design based on how I want to look and then common features. Like, obviously, I'm not going to make my hair some weird color unless it's... I've actually done that once or twice in Skyrim, because normally in Skyrim I'll do a high elf, which... I'll do a high elf with really cool silver hair.
Yeah, well,
that's how I picture. That's how I would be, or how I wanted to be in that game.
Well, yeah, sure. That race also normally has the crazier color hair.
Yeah, and then in Monster Hunter, I'm pretty much the number 2 generic white guy because that Monster Hunter kind of with their character creation is weird.
I mean, I did a little bit more than I normally would. I almost did just name my character Anthony Padilla and roll through like I did in the beta because I thought it'd be funny.
Oh.
But I decided not to, and I dove in. I'm a little more weird. We've talked about this plenty of times. 99% of games that have a character creation, I don't even bother. Because I'm like, you normally cover it. Definitely in a lot of the games I play where you have it, which are like RPGs. I don't see my face or anything anyway, so why does it matter what I look like? Bloodborne, never once bothered to care what I look like because you put stuff on, bam, can't even see yourself.
I did it for Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 on PS4 and stuff, but I just kept with the default Dark Souls 3 character on the PC run that I'm doing.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't want to say a waste of time. It's just not something that's important to me.
In those
I know
games,
people who absolutely love it. Like, I do not care in the slightest that you get to make what your character looks like in Far Cry 5. I think that's unnecessary and pointless because it's a first person perspective. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
You don't see yourself ever.
I mean,
that
yeah,
I know of.
I think
Now, maybe you see yourself a little bit, but I
Well,
don't care.
I
I always like the idea of it being a story about a specific person. That is changing in this one. The setup is going to be that you're the sheriff's assistant, no matter what. So it doesn't matter what you look like necessarily. I get that, but I've said plenty of times, I like original designs because there are liberties that they can make that they can call back to. Like say God of War. If God of War, you could have made your own character and Kratos wasn't the person, then you really can't have this backstory to where, say you make somebody who's extremely tan. Well, one of the coolest parts of God of War's stories, and this is from the first one, it's not even going to count as a spoiler, Kratos' skin is so pasty and white because the ashes of his wife and child have been melded onto his skin by like what you would basically consider like a witch of that time period.
Right.
So it was almost like a symbol for him, like, to always remember what he's done. And I like that idea. And one of the things I think they're going to play off of on the new God of War is the fact that Kratos, and you saw it in the newest trailer, where so far in the game, you've always seen his arms covered.
Right.
And then at one point in time in the trailer, you could see that his arms were uncovered, and you could see where the chains were,
marks.
and he's wrapping it back up. That is something that they can call back to and say, hey, here's the reason for this. If you can make your own character in God of War, and all of them so far, that cool little nod back to what he has lived and has done wouldn't be possible because there's too many options.
Well, yeah, that though, that it makes sense because it's a franchise involving a franchise character.
Well, yeah, but I even think from the first game, whenever it wasn't a franchise yet, it's like, here's a one-off game. Let's just say God of War had a one-off.
They're spending the first 2 hours of the game setting up the character.
Well,
That's the thing.
And I think,
but in Far Cry, they don't really do that. They kind of just.
Well, they do. In the first game, they set up the character. There's a reason why. First game. I'm sorry, 3. The first game of this
I was going to say
specific
2
style.
didn't do that at all. Basically,
well,
2
did. You're a doctor. You have malaria that plays into
yeah,
what you're doing.
I'm talking about like a backstory, like where you came from and all that stuff that God of War
It
does.
doesn't always have to be a backstory where you came from, but there's things they can call back to that are interesting from a mechanical standpoint.
That all can stay the same, but like a lot of people, they'd rather make their own character to kind of more so relate to the person. Maybe they want to add customization.
And I know that I'm weird in that. I'm not saying that I'm by any standard, but there are people I know who won't play games if you can't make your own character, and to me that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
I see. I'll play games that you have to make your own character,
unless it's
I don't care what it looks like.
Unless it's a franchise game, like that's obviously gonna have sequels and stuff. Like,
I
wouldn't mind.
None of them have sequels in the traditional sense for Far Cry, but like 3. It didn't go a huge deal. You don't know who exactly you are, but you know you're this guy who's on vacation.
No,
and
that's kind of cool. That's vague.
See,
yeah.
That's setting it up. Now, you could do that with any character, but it's a lot better to be like, well, he already has an existing girlfriend. We're going to cast this character. If you make yourself a girl, now are they going to go in and redo this character that they've given their own traits and features and personality and flip it to a boy? Because now that boy will most likely need to have different traits, different personality, and possibly a different look. All those things affect the way the game's designed to an extent.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going to make that to begin with, they would have done. They
wouldn't have designed the game in that sense.
Yeah,
of course. But I like that because that's something that's small, like Far Cry 4. You being Ajay and having the whole point of why you're coming is that you're bringing your mother's ashes back. There's an important reason as to why you are who you are and what you are. So. Why would you need to look that? Why would you need to control how you look in that situation? I don't know. I also don't like the idea of being this extremely important person, but some people like the idea of making your guy like a weird crab claw man with red skin and blue. I
saw the funniest picture earlier. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Go ahead and read that last one. I got to pull it up because boy, did it make me laugh. It did not look real.
Okay. I think you'll like this one, and we've talked a little bit about how we love soundtracks and stuff. But Admiral Austin, our friend Austin, Jonathan Austin, hey boy. He says, here's a 2-part question for you guys. What's your favorite game soundtrack? And second question is, if you had to pick a theme song that represents your gaming personality, what would it be? Oh my God.
That doesn't even look real. That looks like a photoshopped image of a person, like a painting. That's a real person's character in Monster Hunter.
It's beautiful.
But as far as like favorite soundtracks go, I'm definitely gonna say Nier. Nier's up there, and so is Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so for the longest time, Kingdom Hearts kind of held that reign for me, though there were other games with pretty soundtracks. But when I finally got around to the first Nier kind of held it because it uses such interesting ideas in the way they do stuff, and I like the idea of a soundtrack that uses a language that, for some reason, it resonates with me. I have no clue what they're saying, but it adds this weird emotional sense to it, even though it's a language that's completely made up. And then they carried that forward in Nier Automata, and I think Nier Automata is the pinnacle of it. It has callbacks to the original Nier, which is just nice for people who did play it, but it also has a lot of things that are widely wrapped into what Nier Automata is doing in and of itself. And it has things that make you feel so epic, and things that make you feel so sad, and things that just make you feel like happy sometimes. kind of angry at times. Like, you know what I mean? The game plays on your emotions with the music better than a lot of games for me personally. Now, there are games that I know that people mention all the time I have not played, so I within what I've played, this is it. A lot of people talk about Persona 5, but Kingdom Hearts is another one. I've always loved the Utada Hikaru
Persona
songs,
5 is really good.
specifically hers, but I also have always loved
Sorry about that.
Man, this is the episode of as many technical problems. I've never stood up more
It
than
always
an
happens. I'll
episode.
have to edit the episode too.
That's because the episode loves you, Saul. It knows
It
deep down
does.
inside. So I don't know. That's mine now. Saul, what's your favorites near as well now?
I was gonna say Nier, Kingdom Hearts, Halo, Final Fantasy. Those pretty much are the set.
Okay, yeah, I like anything that Shisomi, whatever. I know it, and I'm losing my mind now. Shishomaru, whatever, isn't it?
For Nier?
No, Kingdom Hearts. Yoko Shimomura.
See, I never.
She's the one who did. I was excited to hear her come back for Final Fantasy 15. That was one of them. I was glad because it was originally going to be her. I figured because she likes to work with Nomura. But as soon as they were talking about her coming back and staying with the game, even though Tabata took over, I was excited about that. But Saul, harder question: what is the song that actually wraps up what you would consider to be your gaming personality from a theme song? And I'm going to go wide because he did not specify game song. So
He sure didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Trogdor from Guitar Hero 2.
beautiful.
Yep.
Trogdor is good.
Trogdor is
Homestar
good.
Runner also. We got to throw them
Original,
out there.
original place of Trogdor.
Mhm.
Not from a game, but from
Trogdor
a web
was a man.
series. And he was a dragon man.
Yeah, or maybe he was just a dragon. But either way,
The game is super hard on Guitar Hero 2. They made that game unnecessarily hard for what it was. But
you
what
know
about
that
you?
song?
What sums up you? If you haven't listened to it, it's Trogder or DOR?
DOR. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Trogdor.
Trogdor, not Trogdor.
It's beautiful. I love that song. It's so funny. I'm glad it was a bonus track and got in Guitar Hero 2 for those of you who didn't
that's
know
it.
what game it came from or didn't follow Guitar Hero. Though I think most people at some point in their life have played Guitar Hero. Mine, to no surprise at all, just the one that always has lingered with me, and I feel like it ties into what I like so much about games. Is always really kind of weighty and emotional stuff that bleeds through to everything in my life. I like extremely emotional music and stuff like that, and also metal. I mean, I don't know, whatever evokes an emotion in me. But Sanctuary, Kingdom Hearts 2. That's me.
That's a good song.
That's me. I love it. It gets me hyped. That's whatever it is. I just listen to that song. I'm like, this song is so good. In every sense, it's a song that is beautiful when it's playing in the game and you're watching that cutscene. It's cool to just listen to in and on your own. Really cool.
So we have a couple more questions over here on Twitter side of things for Reader Mail. Well, we have Maddie, not Matt, or Matt, not Maddie. He says, have you ever had a period of just not bothered about games or playing them? If so, how long did it last? For me, it was like a year, and it was, I've said it before on the podcast, but it was in between the 360 and PS3 era to the PS4 era, where I got really sick of 360 stuff. Nobody played anything anymore. I was really bored with it. Sold a lot of my games, got a PS3, not Demon Souls back then, but I got like Uncharted, Metal Gear Solid 4, got a couple other games I can't think of right now.
I can't remember what else you got either. I remember that you got
Dishonored.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember if you had that, but you had a little stack. You had a little stack. So
Yeah, and then the whole getting into Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls, all of that.
you were so late to it. Yeah.
I was so late to Demon Souls. I wasn't late on Dark Souls 2 because that game had just come out
you
like
got it at
6
launch,
months.
yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you played it
we-
right after.
We
And
found
then we went
the
and got
collector's edition, at GameStop one night.
it. Came with that really cool statue too.
Yep, I still got that statue. Really, really cool. But what about you? Have you ever had a break?
Okay, so I didn't get to just play games willy-nilly when I was a kid because I couldn't afford them. We always played them, but we also played around a lot. So there'd be 2-3 weeks at a time I wouldn't play games, but we'd always have a console at least, and we could play them. When I finally got to a point where I could afford to fund my gaming hobby, that's when it became a real hobby for me. In high school, it was there, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it, but I always had to borrow stuff, and we did a lot of skateboarding and stuff like that. I had other activities, and I like playing music, so I do a lot of that. So while we gamed a lot, it was kind of going into my junior and senior year when I had a job and was working that we got really heavy into I was like, okay, now gaming is a hobby I've always wanted it to be for myself, right? And ever since then, I mean, I guess I have enough other things to distract me enough, but I would never go more than like, a week without really playing something. And that's carried all the way through up until now. Like, there was a couple months back on the show where I just didn't feel like playing anything because I think it was that I didn't have anything that was just pulling me enough.
Yeah, it was that weird
But it was like a
lull.
2-week period, and I still tried to play stuff, and I normally would play something. It just I wasn't feeling that gravitated towards it.
Yeah.
But that's probably the longest break I've ever had, and I still honestly messed around in games. I just wouldn't play very long like I'm doing right now, like where I can't quit playing, and every night I'm like, I want to play Monster Hunter,
Yeah.
so I just need to go to sleep.
Yeah, Monster Hunter was definitely one of those that like started out slow.
Sure.
Kind of started out almost in a negative experience. I remember playing with Blaze, but like, this is too handholdy, this is annoying, it's clunky, but it's still fun. And then once you get past that 4-hour tutorial mode and getting used to the game, opens up to be a great experience.
Yeah.
Richard Rivero says, was there any video games that made you cry? I never cried, but came pretty close to the endings of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core and The Walking Dead Season 1. So, Crisis Core actually hits it on the head. I teared up at the end
Crisis
there.
Core is a really good answer for that
Yeah.
question. So I mean, like that's one of the ones. Now I think that there are other ones. Because I was young too, and you're in that teenage emotional state. When I first beat Kingdom Hearts 1 all the way through, I don't know why it just hit me. I think it was also that it was. I tell you the story of me coming to that game, and it wasn't all out crying, but there was it was like a kind of emotional welling up.
Yeah.
And it was just because of like the whole situation with Sora. There's a lot of really good parts in Kingdom Hearts 1 that they do really well, and it's also part of why I've always loved soundtracks. The music comes together in such a way that the whole moment is just like resonating with you. But
Right.
there are games, I think Nier Automata had me welling up at a couple points. Pretty sad. The original Nier, definitely. The original Nier is a very, very touching story, and it's done in such a weird way that it's more funny as I've been replaying it since I've been a father. It pulls me even more, kind of like I talked about with The Last of Us, because the scene in the beginning of The Last of Us that I knew was going to, it's not really a spoiler at this point, but about, the first 30 minutes to an hour of The Last of Us, there's something that happens that is extremely
You
well
said the
done.
first, right?
Huh?
You said the first?
No, that's not the first one that did it for me.
No, I said like the first part of the film.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
the very beginning of The
Okay.
Last of Us.
Okay, I get you.
30 minutes to an hour in, depending on how quick you were moving around the stuff. There's a scene that happens that sets up the whole tone of the game,
Right.
and it sets up realistically the entire game.
Yeah.
Because the game is, of course, about this, post-apocalyptic whatever, because of this virus thing, but it's really about these characters.
Yeah.
And about what the world's done to these characters. And that scene sets it up, and that scene, even the first time around, made me tear up and made Hannah legitimately cry. And it made so many people I know who didn't even game or anything, they just watched it, and it's an emotional scene. It's extremely well done, and it goes to show that games can be much more than what some people think they are. But yeah, there's a couple games. I think those are definitely there. There's some stuff that there's just some scenes that happen in some games, like there's some stuff that happens in God of War 3 that, again, welling up a little bit, where I don't want to spoil too much, but there are games that do it. Now, Final Fantasy Crisis Core's ending, extremely well done. I mean,
Yep.
it's one of those things where I find it funny because I don't even love Final Fantasy VII that much, but the ending of that game makes me want to go and play Final Fantasy VII as soon as I'm done, even though I think that Crisis Core is a much better game. I don't know. It's weird. Good question.
Last up, we have No Fate. He says, I know you're a bit of a trophy hunter, so here's the PS Platinums, or so how's the PS Platinum Trophy Rewards working for you? I've not heard any more about them since announced for America only. I don't think that's over here yet. And if it is, it's part of the credit card, isn't it?
No. It's part of, you have to have a Sony Rewards account. If you have a Sony Rewards account, you go in and you have to activate the quest or whatever they call it, and then as you earn them, you get points. I've gotten.
See, I don't really have.
You can only get
about
so many
that.
a year. I haven't gotten the platinum one yet. I haven't gotten 10 platinum since I've got the card and really started focusing on my Sony
So
Rewards account.
does it tie into your credit card?
Ties into, no, I mean, it can, yeah, your credit card stats to it, but it also ties into your PSN. Anytime you buy something on PSN, which you buy a lot of digital, you get points, and you get a lot of points. So you need to be doing that.
Yeah, I guess I need to join up real quick.
So anyway, with that being said, it's working in my favor, but not that crazily, because I am also getting points for my normal purchases because I've started to use the PlayStation credit card as my main purchasing
Wow, can
thing.
you have any worse of a
So-
website? Look at that. Look at the text on it. I can't, does it say Mitchell or Michael? Because I really can't read that right now.
Michael.
Michael.
I don't think it looks all that bad. But anyway.
I can't tell that's a C.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. And then one of the ones that Josh Ayers talked about was Kingdom Hearts, but we've already kind of covered what we thought about on that.
I was going to use that as a lead into the main topic.
And it is. He says, do you think Kingdom Hearts will release this year? I believe so, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was pushed. We mentioned it earlier in the episode, and kind of what we were wanting to do with this episode is one of the other news pieces that's been going on is actually the piece with Kingdom Hearts. Obviously just happened today. It's kind of why we pushed towards this. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do, but as soon as Kingdom Hearts happened, it was like, oh, okay, now we kind of have something. We've been getting asked a bunch on Discord and just by people who we know personally in life where we think Kingdom Hearts 3 stands in a release cycle. And it's been all over the place, but when we finally got to 2018, there's a lot of people that still don't believe that. But where we stand on that as a whole or where we're kind of going with that as a whole is one of the other pieces of this last week was that Tetsuya Nomura mentioned something about Final Fantasy VII Remake and that they've updated Cloud's design from what we've seen so far, which hasn't been a ton, but to be more in line with what he feels like the original design was while still being a new rendition of it.
Yeah.
And that one of the things he mentions, like Cloud's a nerdy character, so he wants it to be, whatever. But he's kind of a geeky character, kind of goofy. Like, we want that to be on show here, which is surprising because Tetsuya Nomura, some people at least have said that he made Cloud edgelord with his appearance in Kingdom Hearts 1 where he's all dark and
oh yeah,
and then he
was like that too.
Nomura was also the director on
Crisis Core.
No, not Crisis Core. What's the name of that movie that they did?
Advent Children.
Advent Children, thank you.
It's a good movie
where
too.
In Advent Children, he's not really. He's
for
super
saying
serious.
that. Yeah.
Oh no, Advent Children was cool. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, it was.
It was a fun watch.
The whole story of Kadaj and all them becoming Sephiroth, that was really cool.
Yeah, interesting.
Especially for like 15-year-old me or whenever that movie came out.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it since then. Watch it be awful now, but I will still stand by the fact that I enjoyed it when it came out.
I laughed when we went to Game Exchange the other day looking for a guitar for Clone Hero that there was like 30 copies of Spirits Within on the shelf.
Oh, yeah, that movie's awful. Though.
Yeah, it is.
I've watched that movie recently and when it came,
I watched that movie like 2 years ago
but
for the first time. That movie's garbage.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Boy.
I'm sure someone says the same thing about Advent Children. That's fine. I just don't like it.
Sure. Anyway, so Saul kind of was like, with all this going on, he kind of wanted to pull towards the idea that, and I guess what kind of started it too is that I messaged Saul because he's been very adamant that it's not going to come out this year.
It's not.
He originally did.
I really want it to. That's the problem, is that I really, really, really want it to. But with what you were saying earlier about how like the first part of the game's like 90% done, there's no way they're getting that game out to us in October. I mean, there's 2/3 of a game left. They need to actually do.
I don't know.
So and
how quickly does that second half come together?
Well,
I don't do game development, so I really just don't know.
Even then, though, it's just I want to keep it in the back of my head and be cautiously optimistic because.
We are only in the second month of the year, though. Think about that, too.
No, I know. It's still going to have to
8 months from now. How much work can they do in 8 months? Probably a lot. Because, one of the other tidbits was that while the Osaka team, I'm pretty sure, is working on this game, the team from Tokyo has sent 100 people to assist in development of this game.
That makes me even more scared. Why do they need all these people all of a sudden?
To hit 2018 release date. I guarantee you that's what the idea behind it is. I mean, I get being worried, but it's obvious that they are at least very behind the idea that they want to release this year. But the grand topic that Saul kind of thought of is that I said this morning with there not only being a new trailer, but also the Utada theme song, which everyone's been, people.
Which I saw a link that said it's in English. Did you see that one too? There's an English variation of the song.
The one I sent you was in English.
No, it's not. Unless I clicked on that and then immediately clicked on another video by accident.
Yeah, no, the one that it's in English.
Is it?
Yes.
I listened to that entire song and watched that entire video.
Yeah, the one unless I accidentally copied unless I clicked on something and copied the wrong one. But yes, I listened to the one that was in English. So my point being, with them showing all this, I texted Saul. I was like, "Do you still believe that they're not really, really pushing for a 2018 release with all this information they're giving and still wanting to put 2018 after it all?" And he was like, "I'm cautiously optimistic." And it kind of led him to want to talk about, and I get it. It's like managing your hype and expectation for games like this, where you have Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was shown very little, just like Kingdom Hearts was in the beginning, and it's like a nebulous thing almost. It was in English, right?
It was. I was so caught up in watching, like, I had to even sit there and was listening to lyrics like, is this in English? Like, because her voice is so pretty. But, yeah, I was too caught up watching the video to pay attention to any of that.
Okay, well, anyway, so I don't know. So where do you stand on this?
If it's going to come out, it's going to come out in November. And then what's going to happen is...
Well, I mean, the managing expectation side of things. So, like, that's kind of where you're the one who kind of threw this, and I like the idea, but I know it's because in your mind you feel like you have to keep all this under wraps. Like,
well, no, and it comes from friends like Joe and my other friend Michael. They both are, I would say, are on scale with being Kingdom Hearts fans, if a little not more than us, depending on the person. And they both have no interest in playing it because it's taken so long to, come out and stuff. And so, and I think I've mentioned these exact two people before, and I'm almost in the same boat where I have to keep my hype in check because if I'm excited about it too long, I'm just going to get bored of being excited about it, or I'm going to be losing interest in it regardless.
And you feel like that's going to affect the way that you feel about the final product?
It's dangerous to be excited for something for so long, and I think that was something that I really was learned a lesson by with Final Fantasy 15 was super pumped up for the game, then get it, and I'm just like, man, it's not nearly as good as it should have been for the time it came out.
I'll agree with that.
I'll
agree with that. From the time that it was announced as Advent, or from as Versus 13 to the time it came out as 15.
Yeah,
like I told you,
and Versus 13 was roughly around the same time that the Bird by Sleep trailer came out for.
It was 2006 or 7 that they showed that the Versus 13 very first,
which is roughly similar
trailer.
Around Bird by Sleep.
Well, yeah, that was the secret ending of
Bird by Sleep.
No, the Keyblade War thing, it was the secret ending of 2, but yeah, it led into being Bird by Sleep, yes.
Yeah,
and 2 came out in 2005.
Right.
So,
Bird by Sleep came out, 2010? 9? Okay,
9 or 10, but I'm pretty sure 10.
But, I remember sitting there watching on the computer the secret ending cutscene, the graveyard, the Keyblade War.
Yeah, not recognizing any of the people made me know it wasn't 3. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's the problem.
But I was like, what is this? I actually, no joke, because someone else said that, but it's easy to say that, right? Oh, it's the next game. I was like, is this going to be a movie?
Well, no, the problem is this is following a trend of 2009 and 10 on YouTube, of which somebody would say, Iron Man 5 trailer. It'd be a really poorly cut together scene of, other movies that have Robert Downey Jr. in them. It's kind of like that, where they're Kingdom Hearts 3 exclusive trailer. And it's you watch it, you're like, oh my god, that's Kingdom Hearts 3, because you see Keyblades, you see all these characters, you see people wear the same kind of attire. You're like, that's actually.
Well, I mean, you had never actually seen that armor until that cutscene.
Well, I'm talking about
what I mean?
Xehanort having the coat on.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty much an organization code at that point.
Yeah, really early style organization. But I mean, and I get keeping your hype and checking or something like that. But I actually thought it was a movie.
I was 15 though.
Yeah, well, me and Trace, Trace's friend Caleb was over at the house, right? And he knew I was a fan of Kingdom Hearts. He was like, "Did you see that?" He goes, "That's Kingdom Hearts 3." I was like, I said specifically to Trace.
I was 18.
I was like,
in 2009.
Well, no, you would have seen the trailer in 2006 or 7.
Yeah, I'm talking about when it came out though.
But yeah, back when the original game. But still, no. When the first trailer came out and Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, and I beat Kingdom Hearts 2, and then Caleb was like, "Did you see that secret video at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2? That's Kingdom Hearts 3." And I was like, and he said it's called Kingdom Hearts 3: The Keyblade Wars. And I was like, no, it's not. I was like, it's just not. It's like you don't see Sora, and there's no reason that within the realm of what this game is that Sora will not be in this game. I was like, and then I was like, what did you see in Dream Drop Distance? Not Dream Drop Distance, I'm sorry. But what did you see in Chain of Memories? In Chain of Memories, you saw new characters that you had no clue about that had nothing to do with anything in the previous game. So I was like, what is going on here? I was like, I'm guaranteeing you we're seeing characters that have nothing to do with anything that's going to be a side game. Did I think it was going to be on PSP and have 3 stories? No, none of that. But I was like, this is either a movie that's going to explain what happened that led up to the events of this movie, or it's going to be a movie that's in the same world just for the sake of being in the same world, or what. But I was like, the fact that you don't literally recognize any of these characters besides what looks to be Roxas is confusing.
Yeah.
Well, definitely because you're watching, you play Kingdom Hearts 2, and this is, by the time that you finish Kingdom Hearts 2, you're like, that can't be Roxas. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about
Ventus?
Well, yeah.
I don't want to say too much more outside of that for people that haven't played it. But my point being, you're watching it, and you're like, there's no way. There's no way this is 3. But I get being young, being susceptible to hype,
well, not only
being
that,
told by someone that it's Kingdom Hearts 3.
And they all had, you picture, you're like, who are these people?
The Keyblade Graveyard got you super hyped because you're like, how are all these Keyblades
You're like, is that Kairi, Sora, and Riku all in armor? That's what I
And I knew it wasn't because...
How, though? When you're that young?
You see Aqua's blue hair, and you see her entire face.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like, that's not Kairi. Kairi has red hair.
Yeah. But, we were super
it's definitely not Riku. I don't know who the hell that is, but, it's like a guy with brown hair. That's not Riku. You know what I mean? That's my point. But I think getting told, it seems like you saw it, being told it was Kingdom Hearts 3. I saw it just by myself and was like, that's probably not Kingdom Hearts 3. And then from there, I just kind of went on. But I mean, I get that. Final Fantasy 15 is a sad story of them not being clear. I wish that they would have said, hey, this game is not the same game that's been being worked on as an actual product for 10 years. This is a game that has gotten restarted and pretty much redeveloped in a 2 to 3 year period. If they would have said that, it would have been fine. You know what I'm saying?
Don't read this out loud, but that was my exact thought in the trailer, too.
Which one?
This one, right my thumb's next to. The whole comment chain for that is hilarious.
Oh, is that for the trailer, the new one? Yeah.
That's something I thought of immediately. But now I was trying to go through there because somebody pointed out on the subreddit in the comments
of Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer?
Yeah, in the trailer that there's something crazy in the trailer that happens, and it's very brief. And they're like, did Square put this in the trailer purposely? And it's a part where Sora's eyes are green. And we don't know if there is a thing to do with that, or if it's because the graphics in this game are so good, it's literally reflecting the color of green off the glass in his eyes. But we all know that Sora has very bright blue eyes.
That's a good question.
But we always know that Roxas has very kind of goldishy tint eyes, right? Am I remember that correctly?
You know what? I don't know. I thought Roxas
But
had blue
I will
eyes
say,
too.
what color of eyes the Organization 13 members have typically? Yellow. Because it's almost. I'm not gonna say much more because
Roxas has blue eyes. I thought so.
I don't want to say too much more because I can't say all of Organization 13 now because that's a major spoiler if I go back to a certain game. But there's a certain character in the game that tried something who has yellow eyes, and of course, yellow and blue make green.
Who knows? But I'm about to say because look, Axel's got green eyes. So
Sora Axel confirmed.
But bam! Okay, I can't say too much. Man, I really want to just do I want to do a Kingdom Hearts spoiler episode so bad.
You know what? I'll be down for that. Let's do that.
Just do a separate episode where we just talk about Kingdom Hearts and what we love about it and everything that's going on with it. But we also just need to open up that spoiler chat in the Discord that you still haven't done. You need to make me an administrator.
I still don't know how to do that.
butt.
I don't know if you could do that on phone. When I get home and I get on PC, I can try it.
But Saul, what is your advice? Because I know one thing is, with your hype, I remember you let yourself get stupid hyped for No Man's Sky just to be stupid let down by No Man's Sky.
And that's our thing.
See, it's and I know that, I guess.
And that's why now I do not go into games with trailers. I don't go into games where I'm really looking at screenshots of any kind.
I mean, you got to watch enough to know that you're at least interested in that game.
Well, no, after I get a trailer in, I did not watch anything more from Monster Hunter other than the E3 trailer. That was the only thing. That plus the beta was perfect amount.
I watched the second trailer they did after E3 because the first one, I was like, I don't know, man. If it's still the same Monster Hunter that's been going on and it's not really that open, the trailer that really got me for Monster Hunter, because I was loosely excited, but I was like, the PSX trailer.
Even then, that Monster Hunter is still pretty. It's pretty much the same. The 3DS Monster Hunter is vaguely the same. It's just there's loading walls.
But not really, man. They've changed the design in this game, having a story.
I'm talking about the openness. Because I thought that's what you're critiquing it on. Because the openness is really much the same. You get put a big area, and then to go to a small area, there's loading screens. But it's relatively somewhat similar.
The area is big, but not really. You're in a completely seamless world this time around.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only difference is
this game is different. It's more
user
open and user friendly, and people can come into it a lot easier than anything else that's been done in the series so far, and they knew that, and they wanted to make a game that was good for people to come into and start on, but it was also good for people who were fans of the series. But see, that's a game that I didn't let myself get too hyped for either. The game's actually been an extremely pleasant surprise, because while I thought I would at least enjoy it, because I did enjoy the other Monster Hunter games, I just got tired of how repetitive they were.
Yeah.
They didn't,
or bad the controls were.
They kept making new games on the same handhelds, which is not an issue. I really did want one on Vita. Because my idea with Vita was at least it's a new console. Next-gen handheld at least gives them an excuse to actually have to try and push the series forward in some way that we've not seen yet, which is what World is. World is we've got to make changes.
Right.
Here's a big seamless world. With the idea of a big seamless world means that you can't switch areas to drink potions. So now we're going to make sure you can drink potions while you're moving, so you can try and be smart, but also get hit while you're drinking potions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That was one of those things where I get keeping your hype under check, but I guess I feel like you burned yourself enough times that you feel like you actually need to keep yourself in check.
Well, not only that, but it's almost at the same time of I don't want to be almost led in by either very smart at marketing that doesn't pay off with a good game,
Yeah, because like okay,
to No Man's Sky.
World End was talking about that with Final Fantasy 15. While I don't completely agree with him,
I didn't read much of that because I was actually I
forgot. It was
sleeping.
a private message to me.
No.
That point. No, he said he didn't like it, but he didn't want to spoil for anybody else, so he private messaged me. And I don't completely agree with his
Are you
viewpoint.
talking about how they said that Final Fantasy 15 had a lot of false marketing?
Yeah, and again, like I said, I don't completely agree, but me being at least vigilant enough to know things about the story led me from getting my expectations too high.
Okay.
Whereas the thing that really let his expectations fly was the Omen trailer, the Bad Omens trailer, which was really well done and really cool.
Is that the one where Noctis was a kid?
No, it's not necessarily. It's the one where he's like riding on a train and like he's having like these where like he looks and sees something.
Yeah.
That looks
I
good.
watched almost every single trailer up to a certain point. I'd see something
It's funny,
I'd cut off.
you were more excited about the game than I was, and I ended up liking it more than you.
And yeah, it just ended up being a big old heap and pile of boo-boo.
And that is something, I'm not saying I don't let myself get hyped at all, because obviously I think it's extremely evident that I'm extremely hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's one of the games that I actually cannot bring myself not to feel this way.
I wonder
no matter what I do. And this is one of the things I love about sequels, is that when you get into a franchise like this, or not, a sequel, prequel, whatever, whenever you get into a game that's part of a franchise, part of what makes it so good is like that, like there's going to be so much payoff in this game.
Yeah.
Some way, some fashion, some things are going to start to make more sense because of the tie-in to what's going on before, or a push forward to finally see this character arc end, or whatever it be. So Kingdom Hearts 3 is almost like, it's tied into nostalgia, and I know that. It's like part of my hype comes with the fact that the series has meant so much to me for so long.
Yeah, and that's what it is too. Like, I'm super excited to see like the aerial summoning attack. Did you see that?
Yeah, boy,
that was
so
amazing.
Good. But
and
see, like Final Fantasy didn't have that for me, because while I played Final Fantasy forever, they're not linked. Every game's different.
The issue though is that's how it is for me though. Is that almost any time there's a Final Fantasy game of any kind, I get myself super hyped about it. I think I was probably the only person in the world not disappointed about playing 13. Like, I didn't play 13 at launch. I played 13 by the time it had dropped down to 40.
That's hyperbole, but
what?
That you're the only person in the world that actually enjoyed 13.
I don't know if it is though.
There's a group of people. It's just there's a very vocal group of people who didn't, and I'm not. I'm one of those people.
And the whole linearity argument. That's let's be real. Final Fantasy X is pretty linear.
But because of the fact that it at least tried making it look like it was open areas, it
yeah,
didn't feel like
still
it.
Not.
Whereas like 13 forces you into these corridor looking things. Like, so not only is it linear,
well, people keep saying corridors, but like 13's world was fairly open. Like, it wasn't, and I don't mean like 30 hours in.
Well, I mean like later.
I mean early. Like
I would
early,
say early, but like 15 hours in.
Early,
you were getting into some pretty like. Oh, here's an actual. It's not sprawling, but visually sprawling.
Right.
But here's your path.
Now, 12 was amazing in the aspects of open world. Like,
yeah,
12 that's still why it's one of my favorites.
But that's why I go to. I think 13 got so heckled because of the fact that it set up expectation, and 14? I get that.
15, I mean.
No, 13, because 12, its predecessor, did what it should have done so much better in certain people's eyes.
Right.
Now, some people didn't like 12, but see,
I
guess that's what I'm saying. Like.
I know people
on
don't
a franchise like Final Fantasy that's always changing. Like, literally, one will be completely turn-based,
right?
Like 9 and 10 were.
Yep.
And then some of them were active turn-based, like Final
7.
Fantasy VII was.
And 6.
I think even 8 was. 8 was not. 8 was traditional turn-based, if I'm not mistaken. But
it was. I'm pretty sure.
But
that's the one I least take.
And it made massive changes and liberties to the summoning system. So when you have a series like that literally no game is meant to be an exact sequel to any other game,
it's hard to keep,
except for the ones like 10-2.
It's hard for a game to perform well enough because it doesn't have a basis.
Yeah, like setting
2 was good, 1 was good, and then Chain of Memories was good. Like, and that's the most different one, other than Dream Drop.
Yeah, but see, Kingdom Hearts getting yourself hyped for something like. You can set more reasonable expectations for Kingdom Hearts.
That's the problem.
But it's also dangerous.
I'm too scared to do that because I'm worried. And like the whole thing is, it's like here's my thought process is that if I set an expectation, I'm going to be super excited for it. But if I'm super excited for it, I almost can't control it when like my hope goes up out the roof. So like, let's say if I'm like, see this trailer today and I was super excited to see it. But now more so I'm like, I can't wait for that to come out. I'm more realistic about it now. But if I was off the ball like I normally would be, I'm like, this game's going to be amazing. Can't wait for it. But the second it gets delayed, I'm going to be sad. And that's going to push me further away from the game instead of embracing it. When it comes out and I'm finally holding it, I won't believe I'm holding it till it's installed on my PS4 and I'm physically playing it. Like, I don't care if I have it in a disc. Just because the disc is in there doesn't mean that's what it is.
They're gonna push the disc. Like, you bought the disc, but the actual game will be a big
Toy Story
47 gig update that comes in 2 months.
Yeah, I just like I will be happy when I physically have the game and I'm playing it.
I get that,
and I'll be super excited on the night of release because I know at that point nothing could go wrong unless
okay. So like two examples I have of being extremely hyped in ways that just I almost was like, oh my god about.
Right.
Kingdom Hearts 3, when it finally got announced at E3 2013, I felt like
that was 2 years ago.
What? No.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, when Kingdom Hearts 3 was first revealed, where it was Tetsuya Nomura on a screen, and it was when Final Fantasy 15 was re-revealed, right?
That's right.
It was a follow-up thing, all right? He goes, I have a special treat for you, right? And it's Final Fantasy 15. And you're like, holy crap. But it says Final Fantasy versus 13, but it breaks the verses off and changes it to 15.
Right.
And I was like,
but you didn't see the gameplay footage for 3 then, did you?
Well, you saw
the beach.
Yeah, and then this thing where you saw like him riding the Heartless wave when it was still going to be part of the Luminous engine.
Yeah.
But that's been 2013. That was E3 2013. The PS4
7 years ago, or not?
PS4 wasn't even out yet. 5 years. Yeah, the PS4 wasn't even out. But that's my point. Is that like it was super nebulous, but them talking about that, I literally felt my heart like stop because of how excited I was.
Did too.
And me and Blaze.
And then when was the
Blaze
first?
wasn't with me for some weird reason. He wasn't with me, and we called each other instantly like, "What? Oh, dude!" We couldn't control it. But you know, see, the only other moment that's really happened like that for me, because that was just like I don't know. I guess I had remitted myself to being that. Because Kingdom Hearts 3 still hasn't come out, it's just never going to come out. Yeah. I guess in my mind, I was like, we'll just keep getting these cool side stories, and I'm okay with that.
Well, like, the thing for me, though, is that, like, the first time the gameplay trailer was revealed, 2 years ago, right? Or a year ago?
No, 2 years ago.
Okay.
Ish, yeah. When they first started showing the Unreal Engine 3 gameplay.
That's when I was getting super, super excited for it. But the thing with Kingdom Hearts is that that's a little different from Final Fantasy, is that it's hard for them to mess up. If you want Kingdom Hearts to mess up and really piss me off in 3, give me a cliffhanger. I will not play the 4th one.
Well, and it's not going to happen because 3 they've already spent enough time pushing down people's throat that this will be the end of the Dark Seeker saga.
It better be, and it better be no DLC coming after it to tie it up. It better not be like Final Fantasy 15 where they have to come.
Now they did say this. They did say this. While this is the end of the Dark Seeker saga, they are not ruling out Sora in the game continuing in other Kingdom Hearts stories.
As long as they tie up,
but it will not be
everything they have now.
Yeah, and that's the plan.
I want no questions asked when I with this game. I know a lot of people are because the Kingdom Hearts story is going to be confusing. There's some like that. I really want to talk about the certain part in the trailer that happens.
We'll talk about it here in just a second when we're done. But yeah, I mean. The other game that got me like that, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was so nebulous, I was like, I guess I just let myself believe it was never going to happen. When it hit, I literally was awestruck, and I couldn't talk or anything. When I called Blaze, like I couldn't even understand myself, much less I'm I'm pretty sure I'm speaking gibberish right now.
Yeah, because that trailer was sick looking.
But then
I almost wish
the other game that got me like that, I guess I knew that God of War was going to come back because Corey had let it slip on the PSX floor that one year when they did the God of War interview that they were working on a new God of War, and then they cut the stream and it was all sorts of stuff, right?
A big old accident.
So when that happened, I was like, okay, I know there's going to be another God of War, but I kept definitely whenever the leak started coming that it was going to be Viking era and all this stuff. I was like, okay, my hype is not out of my hype's not out of the roof by any standard, because I was like, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be good, but it will be a new start. I was like, it'll be a new character, it'll be God of War in name only, right? That's what I thought. I think it'll be God of War, but they will be moving the franchise away. It won't have anything to do with Kratos. It won't have anything to do with Greek mythology, whatever.
But then surprise.
And then that's what got me. The reason I got so hyped at that trailer was when I heard, and I knew, even though they changed voice actors, it's like, boy, I was like, no.
Yeah, that was.
And then definitely when he walked out of the shadow and you saw, I was like,
yeah, you saw the
Kratos!
scars and everything.
And it flipped and triggered in a good way. As soon as it did it, my hype went through the roof, and I was like, but see, after that moment, I was like, I'm not excited about anything of what this could be. My hype literally just came from the fact that I do get to see Kratos' story continue.
Yeah.
Now, anything past that, I'm like, this is new. My expectations are not through the roof. Was it a little weird that he's saying there won't be a jump button? Of course it's weird. As somebody who's played every one of the games and franchises, the jump button is intrinsic to what you consider the God of War experience. But I also believe that they are the people making this game. And as long as it doesn't feel like it's missing from the game, I'm okay. Because there are plenty of games we play that don't have jump buttons.
Right.
As long as you don't feel like it's supposed to be there at all at any point in this, that's fine. If there's ever a moment where I'm like, a jump button would have been really nice here, then that'll be disappointing. But until then, it was only disappointing as a instant, like, oh man, instant reaction. But then I was like, but it's a different game. They're pulling the camera up. This is not near as arcadey, even though it's still very action oriented. But keeping my hype in check is like even Kingdom Hearts 3. There is every chance in the world that Kingdom Hearts 3 won't be near as good as any other ones. Will it be bad? Almost no doubt in my mind. It can't be bad.
Yeah.
But will it exceed every expectation that's ever been thrown? Who the hell knows? But it doesn't need to, in my opinion. And that's why I'm like,
Kingdom Hearts, and that's what
now
matters.
that I know that 3's coming, and the hype has died down for like what shot me through the roof, and even today was that what shot me through the roof wasn't the hype of that the game's going to be so great, even though I think it will be. It's that we are seeing more stuff. And we've been talking about Kingdom Hearts so much lately that I was like, if we don't see anything, I am going to start getting a little worried.
What the thumbnail's going to be for this episode is just a picture of Kingdom Hearts.
Big Kingdom Hearts. So that's where I'm at. Like I guess my hype is contained by letting my initial hype do its thing. Right. And then leveling itself back down by going, it doesn't have to be amazing. The fact that this game is coming alone is amazing.
I know. I said it before, though. It's like every time that there's not a trailer for like 6 months or whatever, it's gone black, that we don't know what's going on. That's when my hype dies down. And that's when I'm like,
see, but they've done pretty well. They've done pretty well because we saw Toy Story, and that's been what, about 5 months ago now?
Yeah,
because we saw Toy Story. So
about 5 months.
We're getting to a point where we're getting fed information at a pace that I feel like is reasonable.
Yeah.
And if they keep this up without showing too much, and they always add these little clips of things that make you wonder about what's going on, that will keep you engaged enough to where you're not overhyping yourself, as long as you at least try and exhibit some form of self-control. But it keeps you interested enough in the small bits that you're seeing to go, man, I can't wait for the next trailer to have that small cryptic thing that I'm like, wait, what?
I really thought that the Heartless spaceship in the Toy Story sequence was Zurg's ship.
Oh, yeah.
First, it's purple and red.
Yeah. Well, one last thing to talk about with Kingdom Hearts 3. They did confirm that Gummy ships will be back, and there will be complete open exploration with them.
That's what I like. That's what I want to hear.
And there will be battle. So it's split into segments. So you'll have that segment, and then you'll go into a battle mode when something comes up, and it'll like flip into battle mode. And I like the idea of that too, because that makes the idea of using the Gummy ships. It's the evolution I wanted.
Right. Yeah.
Some people said they didn't want it at all, but I was like, it needs it.
King.
no man's hearts.
Kingdom. I think, yeah, no.
Regardless,
yeah, no
it's
kingdom.
Exactly what I would have wanted from a Gummy ship idea, and I hope it keeps arcadey because it's a good gameplay change.
It is. It's super easy and super simple.
So, Saul, my advice to you is that. But do you have any advice to people that you feel like you've experienced yourself?
Keep them in check. Yeah, like don't let your hypes get out of don't let it get out of check. Don't spend days watching trailers and stuff and trying to overanalyze things.
Don't binge anything.
Yeah,
I will say that.
The only time that this has ever paid off in my life is Cloverfield. Back in like 2007 when they first released the first trailer, and I know tons of people did this and can relate to this, of spending hours on like IMDb and other message boards trying to depict what it was. And it was so fun because of all the viral marketing, and there's a trailer, in the trailer, one of the people shouts, and it sounds like they say it's a lion. So like that was one of the things for the longest time that people thought Cloverfield was a Voltron movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or they thought it was a giant lion. So like it's super fun. That's the only time where I've like stayed on trailers and overanalyzed. But from now on, it's pretty much I see a big trailer and I judge I'm gonna get that game, like Monster Hunter. And then the beta came out, I played that, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this game now. And then if a trailer comes out and it's iffy, I'll watch a second trailer.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm iffy. I'm not overexcited like I was with Monster Hunter.
Sure.
So that's pretty much what
I try to do that within reason, too. But like God of War, I haven't gone on my way to watch every God of War thing, but now when they show the God of War...
That's why I didn't watch Developer Diaries
when they showed
Hellblade.
the new one. Yeah, and I watched them early because I wanted to make sure the game was still coming. Because they went so quiet on it that I was like, oh.
Like, done.
But I was like, I hope this is cool, right? So I didn't watch every one of the Developer Diaries, but I did like the idea. I'm probably going to go back and finish them now because I know the game was good.
Yeah, that's totally
yeah, like, see, God of War, whenever it came back out, I said that it kind of got my hype back up, and I've let it die down again. I know the game will be good.
Also, Halo 4 was one of those that, like, was super into it, super watching trailers, and then it just fell flat. Like, the campaign was pretty decent, but then everything else was pretty bad.
Yeah, well, it happens.
So just don't... hey, folks, don't get overhyped for games.
Don't be Saul.
Yeah, don't be me.
But that's okay. I mean, that's cool. People get hyped. I get it. It's just keeping stuff under check is important in that case because And that extends to outside of gaming.
I should say, don't get so hyped that you let yourself down. Like, keep your head clear and keep your expectations.
Because it sounds crappy to say don't let yourself get excited for something.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So just keep your expectations at a very smart level. Just don't let them go overhyped and then expecting the greatest game of all time. And
see, because I'm doing that right now with that Lost Soul Aside game that was the Unreal Engine game that kind of looks like it's inspired by Final Fantasy, but one man from China made it by himself up to that certain
never
point.
heard of this game.
I will show you the trailer, and I'm pretty sure I've shown it to you, but I will show it to you. I can't believe I missed it at PSX. I didn't even know it was there until a week later. I came back and saw the update. I was like, oh Lord! But yeah, hype is dangerous, but it's also a useful tool because hype is what drives marketing.
Yeah, you did show me this, but I think we talked about it on the podcast before. That
Yeah,
does look super good.
Anyway, Saul, any last words for this as a whole?
I think that's it.
Okay, well, this has been Triangle Squared, episode 46. You know where to find us on Twitter at TriangleSQRD. If you ever want to email anything to us, we are Triangle Squared Podcast at gmail.com, spelled out exactly like it sounds.
And if you guys like wrestling and video games, give our friends Shenanigans and Such a follow.
Yeah,
on
go give them a little gander. Go give them a peek.
You'll see my
you'll
see my son Dylan. He is my boy. He is my genetically cloned son.
Exactly like you.
Exactly
Every
like me.
bit. Almost like he's taken your place before on this show.
I mean, it wouldn't be common.
We're gonna have a whole episode where I never say it's him. I'm just gonna sit you down and we're gonna talk the whole time, and he's gonna say he's Saul and everything.
Or what you do is you have me record all the audio, then you come in and you film an episode, and he keeps his mouth
Where you can't
conveniently
see it?
behind the microphone. So then, yeah, you can't see it.
I'd be all right with that.
Nobody would know the difference. I guarantee it.
All right. Well, anyway,
thank you guys.
Until episode 47, this has been Triangle Squared. Thank you.
Thank you.